Okay, Jay, just a few questions, quick questions. Number one, what is your prime purpose in your work on the Tiny House Initiative? What would you say your primary mission is?
Well, really my main intention with tiny houses is just to get people thinking outside the box and to really liberate people from this McMansion paradigm that seems to have been the only game in town for a long time.
Okay. Okay, so what do you see for the future of expanding the Tiny House Initiative? I mean,
well, you know, I want to make tiny houses more mainstream. Right now it seems like a novelty, but in the old days before McMansions, it was pretty standard to just live with as much as you needed and nothing more. I want to get people to think about that, not that everybody needs to go to 100 square feet, but in the future I see people living much smaller and maybe even villages of little houses.
Have you thought about lowering the price on your workshops and house plans so more people can access these within a lower socioeconomic demographic range?
Yeah, we're always trying to reduce the price and make things more efficient overall at the company without ripping ourselves off. But you know, right now I'm actually designing houses that are a little bit more affordable for people so that people can actually buy a house for like a shell for a house anyway for like $13,000 or even a little less, and then deck it out in whatever way they want. So yeah, we're trying to get it a little bit more affordable so we can have a broader range of people buying them.
Okay. Have you thought about creating a tiny house university, online university, so people can access all info online asynchronously?
Yeah, it's funny because our business has become this all house questions business, even if the questions about a house are not pertaining to tiny houses particularly. So really we want to expand and be able to answer questions about composting toilets, about different types of plumbing systems and electrical systems, everything. So we'd love to have, actually right now we're designing into our website more community so people can talk to each other through our website and to us through our website.
Okay. And then what do you have planned for the next year? As you know, 2012 is a big year. Some people say it's going to be the end of the earth, but most of us believe it's just going to be a social, political, spiritual shifting of consciousness. What do you have planned? Anything special for the 2012 year?
Well, you know, until you said it just now, I hadn't thought about 2012 too much as a significant year, but I like the idea of thinking of it as a good time for revolution, for change. It seems that things have come to a real head, and with a lot more social awareness and activism going on right now, I think 2012 is a good time to finally get back to a more sustainable system that actually pays attention to the needs of people.
Okay, I agree. Okay, so, and what did you want people specifically to get out of this week's workshop, as opposed to what they would have gotten out of just reading your book, or?
Well, when people come to the workshop, it's largely what I present to them is just an expansion upon the book information and the information on the website. So I'll take a paragraph and I'll turn it into like a half-hour-long discussion about, I just want people to understand how to build a house better than I did when I built my house, and how to design a house, at least have the basics, so that they can start working on their own tiny house designs.
Okay, do you have, this is interesting, I don't know if you're aware of the Creative Commons licensing movement.
Yeah.
I believe Moby actually puts a lot of his stuff under it. Some of the stars are now making that move so that at least some of their stuff is under that. Do you have any plans to place any of your stuff under a Creative Commons license to create that bridge? It's like a social networking bridge within that community itself of artists who share some of their stuff.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. We hadn't thought about the Creative Commons licensing because we are creating some plans now that are free. Like every once in a while we'll offer free plans for the excess house or something, so
Pocono,
so that anybody can now afford plans. And if you can afford plans, then maybe you can afford to build a house, and so building a house suddenly becomes affordable, and I love that idea. We haven't done the Commons thing yet, but I think that that's a great way to take it too.
Right. So you think that that would be maybe a bridgeway into 2012 to say, hey, we're part of this social awareness of debt is slavery, kind of what Occupy Wall Street is doing right now to make it possible for people to, en masse, actually own their own residence, as opposed to being, now what we've seen in Cincinnati and other places is the landlords have gotten real wise to people being foreclosed on, and they jacked up the rents. So now people are en masse homeless. Some places like Phoenix have tent cities, which is sad because of zoning laws. So you see that as possibly something you may actually do?
Yeah, and I'm not really stuck on the Creative Commons thing in particular, though I think it would be a great venue, something we should incorporate into the business as one means of making housing affordable. What we have found though is that, well, for one thing, my business is a two-headed hydra. Well, my business partner is all about, don't forget we have to make money here and sustain the business, and I'm all about just designing houses and social issues. And I think both of us have a very important role to play. But he reminds me that we can't give everything away, otherwise we won't have a business at all.
Right.
So right now we're still finding a balance, and it feels like we're getting closer and closer to a good balance of, making quality house design affordable. I guess the difficult part is the political part beyond house design. A lot of homelessness is the result of, building codes that were established by the housing industry that make people buy more house than they can really afford. It's sometimes about drug dependence and addiction, or mental illness, and those are all things that house design itself can't necessarily address solely. So we're doing what we can. Hoping somebody else will work on that other stuff, because it's a lot to take on.
Thank you very much for the interview today, Joe.
Thank you.